All right, so we're at it again. We're gonna build a Q2, even though I said I probably wouldn't. What you see there is all the parts that I'm gonna use. Anyway, explanation. This is a Berkshire Riverossi. These drivers are the same size as what would be on a Q2 in a big boy. What we need is, for the rear, we need a piston and 3 sets of drivers. What we have, the reason why I picked this frame is, see, the cylinders are on top of the wheels. They're very close. That's where I need them to be. So what I am going to do is we are going to cut this frame, get that set of drivers out of there. I'm going to move this piston back, everything, so it's in the same spot but in front of this set of drivers. And we're going to move this pin, this brass pin, to here. I'm going to move everything back. The reason why we're moving it back and we're not chopping off the back is because I need this to attach the truck. Like that. I need that. This is a Berkshire truck as well. Rear truck. This frame here only had this, but we don't need this. But we need the cylinders to be closer on a chassis that has 2 sets of drivers. The pistons are pulled forward. 1 set of wheels are behind it. 1 are in front. We don't need that. We need this. So, I looked through my box of crap. I found a big boy front truck. So what we're going to use is this, and we're going to cut this too. This is not going to be live axles. It's going to be free spinning. I don't want to complicate things. I am going to leave this here, just in case if I want to put a transmission in it and make it live. So my options. So what I'm going to be using is this set and this set. This is going to get lopped off. The front's going to get lopped off and moved back. I need this here because I need to have this underneath. Obviously this is not going to be there. This is going to be gone. But everything is going to be moved back. What I haven't figured out is if I want to do some blind drivers or not. I have to cut the frames, get them lined up, and put them on a piece of 18-inch radius track to find out what I have to do to make it turn. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if I want to use blind drivers. I might articulate the back end. And where I would articulate it, if you can imagine that this set of wheels is gone, and what I would want to do is I don't want it to pivot in the front because then the ass will move too much, and I don't want to pivot in the back because then the front will too much. So I have to find a happy medium point, which is probably going to be right around there. Actually, probably right in front of it, because this is going to be moved back and it's going to be sitting here. So it probably will pivot here. So that would make the back move a little bit more than the front, which is good because I don't want the pistons overhanging the body to an obnoxious point. If I decide not to articulate it and it's going to be one rigid frame, I'm going to have blind drivers. The only problem I don't like with blind drivers, for one, you lose traction, but you end up with wheels hanging over the frame. And it looks horrible going in a tight turn. And I don't really run, most of my turns are 22s, 33s, and 35s. But it's a test layout. It's not permanent. I don't own the house that it's in. I would like to build a rail yard that has 18-inch radius going in and out. So I want it to be able to run on that. So, not to mention, there aren't any out there that you can buy that will actually run on 18s. They say they run on 22s, and they look terrible when they do it. So, anyway, there you go. That's my plan. So what I have here is I have an image of the train. And I know how long the entire train is supposed to be. It's just over 124 feet. So when you scale that down to inches, it's 17 inches, roughly. So I've brought this image onto a screen, and I've sized it down. So from the front of the locomotive to the back end of the tender, it's just over 17 inches. I made it a little bit bigger because I'd rather have it slightly bigger than too small. I need to have room for the wheels and everything. The locomotive is approximately 2.5 inches tall. It's tall. It's a tall locomotive. It's actually taller than the Big Boy. It sits up higher off the chassis than a Big Boy does. So I think the Big Boy is 16 feet tall. This is 16.5. So it's a half a foot taller, which, you know, in scale is less than 2 millimeters. So anyway, it's actually wider than a Big Boy as well. The train is. So we'll have plenty of room for the chassis to fit in there from left to right. I just worried about the length. So what I've done is I've sized this down. This is how big my locomotive is going to be. And this spot here represents the actual parts that I have from the front of this piston cylinder to the rear back half of the back of this wheel. So what's kind of dictating the exact size of this locomotive is the size of this, from the front of this piston to the back of the third wheel right there where my thumb is. That's how I'm going to dictate the exact actual size. Most of the body will be scratch built. Some of the details, maybe like the cab roof and the firebox, the bottom half of the firebox, I will chop off of another locomotive shell that I bought for parts. This detail here will all be I'll either fabricate it or I'll cut it off of some other locomotives that I have. As far as the main shell, all this, that'll all be scratch built like I've done before. All the sides will be scratch built. The ladders, I'll probably use the set of ladders that I have. That way I don't have to make them. And there we go. I haven't even thought about doing the tender yet. The tender is basically the same tender that's for a 282 Mallet. I have quite a few of those. I might just repaint one and call it a day. I might build my own. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, that's what we got. We got this pile of junk, and we're going to build the train from it. Thanks for watching.